Hello and welcome to another episode of the
Can you talk, man?
the Cinema Boys
I gave him
podcast.
the intro and he messed it up.
Dude, it's my second one, dude. You got me 3-2 now. Um, but today I am your co-host Devin Franklin with
You're the other co-host, Jacob Price.
today, as you've seen in the title, we are going to be reviewing season 3 of and we're gonna do a kind of a deep dive of the show.
Kind of like throughout the whole season, just our thoughts about it.
Yeah, honestly, we could probably go episode by episode. There is 8 episodes, and then I guess give an overall review on how we feel about everything. I don't know if you wanted to give each episode a rating itself or what, or just go on a whole season. But I think overall, I think we have pretty much this. We're pretty similar in some thoughts. I for one, also would like to put out there. I am solely have only watched the show, and Jacob is 2 books in.
Yeah, I'm 2 books in the comics. I haven't finished it yet,
But he's caught up to where the show's at. Wait, he's actually
I'm
passed.
past.
He's passed. That's what I meant.
I'm past
But like
that point.
he's read both what we've watched in the show and more. So this is my
I probably won't go into that because Devin hasn't read the comics.
so the show is my truth, and he knows a little bit more than I do. I do know from other people's reviews and stuff that like the show does do a little bit of things differently and stuff like that, and leaves out some things or whatever it may be. And
switches some things up.
and what some of these things that we have seen in the last episodes or so, what they actually made. Because if you read the books, you don't have to wait a whole year for a second season.
Yeah, you basically know what's coming. They might change a couple things, but they'll keep the big events. But let's just dive right into it.
All right.
All right, so I guess let's just get right to it and start how the whole season starts. And it obviously kind of just starts right, or a couple months after Anissa warned Mark about Conquest coming, which we don't know his name yet, but and also at the fight of him and Angel Levy, who he thinks he's killed. Which, spoiler alert, he's kind of one of the main villains of this season, I would say.
Yeah, in a sense.
And definitely in a sense. But yeah, this episode just tries to explain how Mark got stronger and faster since we last saw him because of all the exercise he's been doing with the GDA.
Yeah.
Cecil and Donald, the goat. But this introduces Doc Seismic. Yet again, we've seen him before.
Yeah, and
But he's stronger now.
yeah, we thought might have died. I did
Yeah.
remember we were watching. I think it was the second episode of the first season.
First
or second, I
very
can't remember.
early in the Invincible show.
But it was Mount Rushmore, I believe.
Yep.
And then he falls into a volcano, but they cut off, or it erupts or something like that. They cut away from that scene, and then it's just like them going back to their normal lives.
Well, yeah. Well, it's Mark flying away and Eve saving Eve. But, well, Eve kind of saves him, but you know what I'm saying. Not really saves. He could have took that lava. But, yeah, he's back. He's stronger with lava, animals, not even animals.
I don't know what
but
things are.
beetles, freaking creatures, animal creatures, whatever.
Lava
That
bed
are
bugs.
apparently super strong because, like, they explained how Mark was stronger at the beginning of this episode, and then he was kind of weak against these things.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really see full Mark until the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I was
like.
about to say, he's probably holding back, even though, like, these are creatures, but I don't think I would hold back, because they're not really humans, but...
Especially in the sense where he came into, what his situation was, where he came into where he met them at, and, all of the heroes are out of commission.
Yeah. I feel like that's the main parts of season 1. I'm pretty sure that's... What episode does Mark get with Eve? I don't think that's episode 1, actually.
I think it's either towards the end of it or kind of early in the beginning.
What are you doing, dog?
Or I think it might be episode 2. I just remember it's all kind of like mixed together because these were the first 3 episodes that released on the same day.
Yeah, so
and I know we
back to back to back. But I know Deal with Devil is basically because Mark or Invincible was losing the fight to Doc Seismic. He released Darkwing 2, which was captured in season 2. I'm pretty sure he captured him in for killing just people that was committing crimes, and the Reaniman. So this episode deals how with Mark doesn't like that Cecil's using these people because they don't have the greatest history. So they kind of have an argument, which I can't talk like Devin. We're both having bad days, but it leads to like an argument, and then Cecil makes Mark angry by showing that he has basically a device in his head that can
Stop
kill
him,
him,
yeah.
basically. So they have a whole argument, and this breaks up the Guardians of the Globe because the younger team, especially, they think, ew, if Cecil does this to Invincible, he could probably do the same things to us.
Yeah.
So while the older
Immortal, Black Sanderson, I think. And
they've been there for longer,
Yeah.
and they kind of have more trust in Cecil in the system.
Which, the older ones are just like, well, yeah, Mark deserved it. He needs to be
and they also hold
consequences.
his father against him still, kind of.
Yeah.
So, but that's season 2, or not season, I keep saying season 2, but episode 2 is when Cecil and Mark break off their working relationship. And yet again, this might be the episode that Mark and Eve get together.
I think
Possibly.
it is. It does say Eve makes an important decision.
Okay. So, yeah.
Cause so that was 2 where, and then we also got the Cecil flashbacks.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Because they were talking about how they're
2.
Cecil remembered how he was kind of the same way because.
Yeah, it kind of shows.
I don't remember
he
what.
Can understand them.
Yeah, I don't really remember if they said names for the 2 people he had beef with, I guess, when he was younger, that they reused for whatever fight that was. But yeah, whenever he seen that, and then he did eventually kill them himself when he got the chance, because he felt the same exact way Mark feels right now.
He did way worse than Invincible did, kind of. So, but then episode 3 kind of focuses more on Oliver and Mark's relationship.
Yeah.
And we see Oliver kind of not really understand his strength and his training, and he doesn't really have the human emotions we do because he was born on the Thraxans, I think. Not the.
I don't know exactly. I can't remember what it's called. Hold on, I'll try to Google it real quick.
But whatever world he comes from, like they don't have the same affection.
Thraxa, I think it's what it's.
Yeah, so the Thraxans.
Yeah, but I think there's a plant just called Thraxa or something like that. But yeah,
I was right. But basically, their kind doesn't have the same affection that we do. He also has insane memory, so he remembers his whole life, even as a baby.
Yeah.
He doesn't even talk yet, which is pretty crazy because that means he remembers Angstrom Levy holding him and throwing him around.
That's gotta be traumatic.
Ragdoll.
And it does kind of explain a lot of what you see in later seasons as well, or not seasons, but episodes too. How his actions kind of are, because his first memories are the Mark fighting for him.
Yeah.
And in his home planet, and so it is kind of weird because his people literally only live 9 months, which is crazy to think about.
So he doesn't really understand why he should.
Yeah, he doesn't understand human
Hold back.
Yeah.
Why he should hold back. Yeah, I'm just kind of blanking sometimes, but he does kill the Mauler twins this episode, which was pretty crazy to watch.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't. I was kind of thrown off that I think we both were like, damn.
Yeah.
We were not expecting that. He kind of flew in and just was like,
as the
right
Guardians of the Globe literally just watch him murder 2 big guys, I would say.
Because the Mauler twins have been the problem for I think
they've been around since season 1.
Yeah, they've both had their run throughs in each of the seasons.
Because they were the ones that helped Robot get Rex's body and clone him and everything.
And then first season was literally they're the first bad guys we've seen. Trying to kill the president and everything like that, and they also had their big jailbreak and everything like that.
And probably the most important aspect about this episode is at the end, Mark gets his blue suit.
Oh yeah.
which goes into some things, and as a comic reader, it definitely goes darker. And Mark learns a little lesson here very shortly, like next season. So, but first episode with the blue suit is not really a good episode. Like, no, it's a very good episode, but
It's not really a
good for Mark.
episode.
It's not. Yeah, it's not good for Mark because he gets took to this future or dimension or whatever.
Yeah.
By these people who appeared in season 1. I'm pretty sure when they were trying to steal.
That was that first episode.
Yeah.
Of season 3.
Yeah, that's right.
And then
episode 1. Yeah, of season 3.
Yeah, sorry. Also,
did I say that wrong?
you said season 1, I
I
believe.
always say that. Okay.
But I was just making sure.
Yeah.
Which is voiced by our guy Solo.
Yeah, Miguel from
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
And Blue Beetle.
Yeah, Blue Beetle.
But yeah, that one. Actually, I'm glad you said something because I was. I kind of forgot about that one, but also that one just made me grow my, not like exactly hatred, but dislike for the guy he has, for Immortal, who he does have to deal with later on the episode.
Don't bring up Immortal yet, dude.
Oh, I'm so
No,
sorry.
I'm kidding.
I'm so sorry. I just already ruined this whole
Yeah,
episode.
ruined it already, man.
Hate
Actually,
that guy.
We gotta restart everything. But this has Mark's first official kill, as I kind of already spoiled it at the beginning. That Mark didn't really kill Angstrom. So.
Which I don't know how that was actually that like.
Yeah, his head
especially when they showed it.
in, yeah. So I don't know really, but Immortal in this future is basically like the Emperor of Earth, and he begs Mark to kill him.
But he purposely ruins the world.
Yeah.
Because he knew Mark would show up.
And it takes him a while, but Mark finally just chops his head off. Pretty easily because, when Mark doesn't hold back, he can really do some damage. But he's always holding back, and that's just a good thing. It shows how much of a good person he is, and he's actually trying to help people. And that's what I really like. Like, this even takes it back to season 1, like when he fought and then relieved the battle to take an old woman that got injured to the hospital.
Yeah.
It just shows Mark's character. But it just goes to episode 5, which is one of the first episodes that is just mainly Mark and Eve. I'm pretty sure this is the episode where they fight the dragon at the prison with Titan.
They fight the dragon. Mark and Eve have a sleepover.
Yeah. And then Oliver kind of snitches on him at the breakfast table. The mom already knew, though, let's be honest.
Yeah, well, she did say it as well, yeah. And then it was just funny that it threw me off because I believe that was one of the big trailers. Or what Invincible Invincible themselves posted was Oliver snitching on them.
And it was just... Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the first time Mark seeing Titan again since he helped him kind of take over the block.
Yeah.
So now we kind of get to the really good episodes of Invincible, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Because what I liked about the 4th episode was also the whole Alan and Nolan aspect of it, and then especially getting Battle Beasts again. And then season 5 was hit or miss. I said season 5.
Oh yeah, I completely
episode 5.
forgot that the Nolan battle was in I keep saying season. Episode 4. Seeing Battle Beast was pretty cool, and he definitely becomes more of an important character later on. And he's the badass. No way other to say that. But episode 6 is when we meet a new Invincible villain, voiced by Aaron Paul. Breaking Bad fans.
I can't keep getting away with this.
But this is basically a villain that comes from the Invincible and Omni-Man fight. As if you remember, actually shows this that he tries to save a little girl and the mom when they fall out of the building. but it's just too much for him to handle to hold the building up and hold them up as well.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, their lives do get taken, and this just sends him over the edge because he sees Invincible holding his dead sister's
Arm. Like, yeah, I think it's like the forearm of it, yeah.
So this causes him to just hate Invincible and basically live his own life to become a villain. And he's also backed by his wife. Like, his wife supports him doing this, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
because especially what happens later on. In
the hatred for Invincible and because of his dad is kind like, I feel like time and time Invincible will try to prove himself as much as he can that he is not his dad.
But not everyone's really gonna be.
Yeah, no one's,
trust him fully.
especially everyone who's from Chicago.
Yeah,
they do not believe.
Well, especially after the next episode from any city, really.
Yeah,
from any big city, would kind of not trust Invincible. But yeah, this hatred kind of comes out of nowhere, I think.
Yeah.
Because obviously, he does do damage, but he stops from way worse.
Yeah, like, if he wasn't there at all, his dad would have already taken over the whole Earth. And they would all be hating him, but they wouldn't be able to do anything.
Yeah, so, like I said, the blue suit, the episodes just kind of just go downhill in Mark's life. Everything just starts going downhill. And the hatred for Mark gets so strong while fighting Invincible. He has to get Invincible's attention, so he fakes a kidnapping and ties his wife and kid up. And that makes him come. But, like, he never unties them while they fight. So his hatred leads to their death because he basically has these electricity powers. As you hit him, he kind of builds up energy and he gets stronger. And at the time, Mark really didn't know this, so he made him become strong, and he shocked Mark, and the electricity went across the floor. And his family was laying on the floor, so he kind of murdered his own child and wife, and then ends up even blaming Invincible for that.
Yeah, he's like, "Well, look what you've done."
Which is kind of bullshit, but
pretty much all because Invincible tanked it too. Because it was like that was the same scene where he was like pouring all his power into his head, and then it just kind of like kind of an explosion-ish thing, but it was like an explosion, but like nothing else was really that effective compared to the bodies. Which also right before the fight, I think she spit in his face when Invincible started trying to actually
help him.
Get him out, and then she's like spits in his face. Blah blah blah. He's like, "What? I thought you were going to do." And then that's when he shows up.
But yeah, it is a very sad ending, kind of, because he brings this upon himself, but you just hate to see it.
Yeah.
Because he didn't mean to. It was like a huge mistake, all just because of his hatred. He let it get to him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for a reason, I guess, because leading into the next episode.
Which even is seen you can see in the end trailer, or end credit scene.
Yeah.
Where Angsham's back with all these variants.
Multiple variants of just evil marks that help take over Earth.
Which I've almost killed him, might I add, as well.
Yeah, these ones have killed the other variants before. Or, not, they've almost killed other variants.
And have killed people Angsham has loved. And now, because of
his hatred again.
Of just one mark who didn't really... His plan wasn't to kill Angsham in the first place. He just seen the Mauler twins.
And he kind of just killed himself by stopping.
He was like, "Stop!" And then, tried to... Yeah. So, but, his own stupidity at the same time. But this is another example of, like, Invincible getting poorly blamed for, like, nothing that wasn't really his fault.
Yeah. But, variants show up of Invincible. And they kind of just pick the biggest cities, the most important cities around the world, and just make havoc. They destroy everything. Invincible doesn't really fight in this episode, which is kind of a shame. He only fights one, and then takes him down. I mean, decently easy, I would say. Does get a little knocked up, and then he kind of 2v1s them.
He was going to.
Yeah, until Eve gets hurt, like Sinister Mark, and then one of the other variants.
It was the Omni Mark, I believe. Yeah, because he's no swearing. Or, like, swearing's not going to help. Or whatever it was. He's like, yeah, I effing got it.
But he got distracted because Eve got hurt. And people always diss Mark, but I feel like if he doesn't get distracted, he wins so many fights. But he seems to always get distracted by something.
And it's some of, like, especially in the last episode, some of these things aren't even his fault. Like, he's been trying to tell people let him do his own thing, and then they always try to insist in being there. And, like, because Mark knows his strength, and he knows his opponent's strengths, and then he knows who and who can't handle it of his friends and stuff like that. So he knows that he's probably the best fight for all of these other Invincible variants, and because he knows his own strength. And you don't know if you're going to be stronger or they're going to be that much weaker, which some of these variants were that much weaker than Mark. But some of these people were just screwing up Mark just because they were trying to do something.
And then I also want to point out, like, the title is called What Have I Done? And I feel like that's just a good title because it shows how Mark feels, even though it wasn't him that destroyed the cities.
Yeah.
Because everybody saw him bring this destruction upon him. So he kind of feels guilty for that. But I kind of just want to jump to, obviously, the most important part of this episode. And obviously the saddest part of the season. And I'm, of course, talking about Rexplode's death.
My entire goddamn skeleton.
He went out in badass fashion, took out a Mark.
For sure, yeah.
But unfortunately did take his own life also fighting that Mark.
Which I do have my own thoughts about that, but which
I mean,
I was in grief and I was grieving his.
He's still in denial.
I'm in denial. I've been in denial since. He's coming back in season 4, I swear. But no, it's just that so the whole thing is obviously Rudy, Monster Girl, and Bulletproof. They fly away because Rex says he's got this. I got to play, and then he's like, they still can't tell when I'm lying, and then he starts throwing stuff at Mark, and then has always that big explosion. The big explosion where he had the platform. I don't really know exactly the floor. He exploded the whole floor and everything like that. And then Invincible just flies over it, and then
now she's trying to go outside.
But so then that Invincible variant goes over and flies and has Rex in a chokehold essentially, but like or whatever, like that or whatever.
He's holding him up
by his neck, and then they're going this whole monologue, and there's this gap or like the big old
He has like a gash in his stomach.
And then where he can reach and touch his skeleton.
Well, he can reach inside for sure. I don't know if he touches the skeleton, but he definitely likes it, so maybe he gets there. He just digs his hand into his body.
Yeah, so he reaches for it, and then Invincible's like, well, if you're worried about bleeding out before I kill you, you're dumber than the rest of my world. And then it's like, he's like, well, I'm the idiot who took you down with me. Spoiler. But
I feel like we spoiled
everything already.
Spoiled.
Yeah. But and then he has this famous line. It's like, he's like, oh yeah, what do you have left, or whatever it is. And he's like, my entire goddamn skeleton. And then
said the line twice already, bro.
But
said it literally when I brought up Rex.
I'm just saying, it was a goated line.
He's a Rex lover.
But so he didn't run out. He might have ran out of things to explode. But if you remember in season 2. Episode, I believe 7, when he gets a new hand, he can literally now has a blaster in his hand. So he had more to explode. He just needed to use his blaster and his wrist. Could have easily, hit
Wasn't strong enough, bro. Was not strong enough.
It could have hit Invincible in the eye, bought him some more time.
Oh,
I'm just saying. Rex could have survived.
Yeah. Shout out to the people that soloed the Invincibles though. Tank Jacket,
Powerflex, Tank Jacket,
and Powerflex. 1v1 their own marks. Respectfully.
We need more Tech Jacket time for sure.
He hasn't, or she in the TV show. He's a guy in the comics, but they haven't been introduced yet. I'm excited because they're very strong and they're a part of the Viltrumite War, which will be probably coming next season.
There's a lot coming next season.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, Mark is still in his bad phase or just not thinking straight. So, yeah. But at the end of this episode, Mark is cleaning up the fight like a week later, and a Viltrumite shows up.
He has a famous line, too.
Yeah, do you want to say the famous line? I'm not, but you can say it.
Let me get my conquest voice. Oh. Stand ready for my arrival, worm. That's my voice died.
It's not terrible. Kind of sounded better than he delivered it, to be honest. But, yeah. I guess we can just go on to episode 8.
That's pretty much is literally actually how episode 8 does start, too, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. But it starts with the fight, alright? They just start fighting right away.
Yeah, where you can definitely tell Mark's emotions, where he's helping clean up, and then in that scene in the confrontation where he's like, I don't think you understand, this is all, which also how you tagged on.
I'm not gonna lie, what Mark says in the comic books is way better than what he says in the show at the beginning, but I just wanted to put that there.
But I do want to come where you said, what have I done, as the title of the the episode 7. Also kind of carries over to that towards the end where he's literally talking to Conquest and he's like, I don't think you understand. All this is my fault, and all I want to do is punch something as hard as I can. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
And then immediately that's where it cuts off, where they're about to start bumping. They're sort of punching each other. So yeah.
And it just shows how strong Conquest is. And basically, he explains to Mark throughout the whole fight how all the other Viltrumites are scared of me.
Yeah,
it was. I always succeed in my mission.
He's a victim of his own success.
Yeah.
As he says.
He's a lonely man, dude. So that's why he's beating the crap out of Mark.
That's what he does. Sorry.
But I mean, the fight takes up most of the episode. We see a little of Cecil trying to talk to Sinclair about the Reaniman with the dead Mark's body.
That was insane, yeah.
But Mark's body is like, obviously he's invincible, so he has harder skin to cut into, so it's going to take longer for him to create these Reanimen. So basically Cecil is useless in this fight. It's basically just Mark.
Yeah.
And then Oliver tries to jump in, is very unsuccessful at helping Mark. He kind of just buys him a little more time, not even that much more time. He thinks he's going to beat him up, and then he gets bitch slapped to the ground, and then held upside down like a baby. Like Angstrom Levy literally did.
I bet it's still, yeah.
It's literally like that scene, but he's just older now. But that's a funny comparison. But then, obviously, when Mark cares about someone, he kind of starts letting loose. Yeah, letting loose. So he surprises Conquest with how fast he is, and obviously this is because he's been training for a Viltrumite.
Yeah.
But then Eve wakes up because she was in a coma, as we explained. Eve got hurt in the War of Marks.
Yeah.
So she tries to help. In the comic books, she doesn't do anything. But I really like what she does in the show because it shows that she actually has a fighting chance against the Viltrumite, even though using her powers to full potential kind of wears her out, kind of like Mark. So Conquest obviously can just has more stamina than her, and is quicker than her. So he eventually just gets to her, breaks apart her armor that she made for herself, and has the best. The goriest just scene of the show so far, probably. I didn't know they were going to do it like the comics did it, but it's basically like the panel is in the show.
Yeah, I didn't know. Me and Jacob, since I had work at 5 in the morning and the episode releases at 3, and it's hard for me not to be on my phone. I'm brain rotted.
He is. That's facts.
And I admit it. But hey, I do celebrate whenever it does say I get my recap and it says I've gone down however many percent, and I feel a little better about myself.
That's good, man.
Congratulations. But I said, I think because me and Jacob were texting that day, we were like, you want to watch it 3:45 in the morning, have to watch it, and then I still got time to work because with the Powerplex episode, I knew about Powerplex before I even watched the episode, and so I was like, hey, this is a pretty big episode. And I was like, and he said he was down, so we went and watched it. And you were
3 in the morning.
Yeah, 3 in the morning, right when it released, and then I could tell you knew what was going on a little bit because I know you at first thought the armor was all they were gonna do for him to get mad.
Yeah.
Because you're like, that's it, and
well,
then
no, not the armor. What happened? Well, the jaw is what I thought it would stop.
And then I was like, what do you mean? And then I see, then he gets punched right through.
He got his hand ready.
Yeah.
That's when I knew it was happening. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna murk Adam Eve right here.
So then I was like, what's going on? And I was like, oh my god. I didn't really react though. It was 3 in the morning. But in my head, I was like, whoa.
She basically dies, and then that sets Mark off. And Conquest is like, you don't fight, or you don't get stronger when you're angry.
Yeah.
But Mark fights dirtier when he's angry, so it kind of makes him better. He shows this by literally just biting into.
Yeah, like his shoulder, like his issue.
Yeah, I just want to say this. I told Devin this. It's kind of a callback because Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Stephen Young was both in The Walking Dead, and it kind of gave me zombie vibes. So I just want to say that. And this is literally Glenn's revenge, because if you don't know, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is the one that killed Glenn in The Walking Dead. So,
no.
Yeah, kind of his revenge. So basically, after helping Adam Eve kind of to the ground, this makes Mark really angry, and then the first punch he lands, he punches Conquest so hard, he basically breaks his mechanical arm and then breaks his own hand.
Yeah, that was some Novocaine.
Yeah. And it kind of just shakes the whole, wherever they're at. It shakes the ground, everything.
Yeah.
It's a big explosion. And they just fight for a while. And then first, Mark kind of gets the upper hand until Adam Eve starts reviving herself. Because her powers are crazy. Probably one of the best powers in the universe. But she revives herself. Mark gets distracted by Adam Eve once again. Maybe she's just not good for him while fighting. She's just going to be there. But this helps Conquest get the upper hand. But not for long, because Adam Eve freaking destroys Conquest's skin. Tears it right off.
Yeah.
With an energy blast. And that helps Mark. And then Conquest breaks Mark's other hand. And then, what else does he have to use to beat Conquest?
Also, sorry.
His head, by the way. He bashes Conquest's head and his own.
Also, during this whole time, Mark is practically one-legged as well.
Yeah, because in the Adam Eve fight, he karate chopped.
It's it was around his quad and his thigh, and yeah.
Novocaine style.
And so yeah, also he's on one leg, now has no hands pretty much, and then is kind of right on top of him, and then then he just goes and then Also, sorry, I did want to touch on one of probably the better lines Mark's had in the show.
What?
Is probably whenever he goes, I see the future.
Yeah.
He's like, I see the Were we in search?
What's the house? That's a car.
But, sorry. There's a bright light. But I feel like it's hold on. Now I don't want to mess it up.
It's I can see the future. You will not live to see tomorrow. That's what he says.
But I wanted to I was going to do the whole line. Okay. Maybe?
I don't care how fast you are. I don't care how strong you are. I can see the future. You don't live to see tomorrow. That's the whole line.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
I just remembered it, yeah.
But yeah, that one was pretty cold.
I remember, that's my favorite line in the comic books, because it goes straight from the comic books. Just badass Mark moment. Because, we haven't really seen Mark kick ass in the whole Invincible show.
The closest thing we had was Angstrom,
and he was kind of weak. I didn't really like him as a villain too much, but this, we're watching him fight, like, apparently one of the strongest Viltrumites, and we see him win, so we see the potential that he has if he doesn't hold back.
Yeah. That was, I was like,
And I know I said I wasn't going to talk about it that much, but in the comics, like, it definitely shows it, like, what makes Mark go over the edge. It's good at showing, like, how strong Mark actually is and how much he truly holds back
Yeah.
villains. Which I'm sure the show will do it in season 4 as well, but just wanted to put that out there. So yeah. All right.
I can't.
Okay. But can you not interrupt me? So basically, the last part of the episode kind of focuses on Rex Blode's funeral. So, Devin is about to cry because, like I said, he's in denial about.
He's not dead.
Blode.
There's no body.
I'm gonna tell you right now, he doesn't come back in the comics, bro.
Well, Amber hasn't got beat either, so.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Devin really wants that storyline to come. But yeah, I think the most important things about Rex's funeral was definitely like Ray crying in the background. That was very sad and emotional.
Yeah.
Because season 3 built their relationship very good. Because we didn't really like go into detail about all the episodes, but during one of the episodes, they have like a little dinner date that Rex made for Ray.
Because he saw how much he valued trying to be a normal.
Yeah.
Like, have a normal life.
And even though she explains that it's still like not normal, but she still appreciates that Rex is trying.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like Ray leaves the Guardians of the Globe because of the danger. Unfortunately, Rex has like always been a part of a team because I don't know if you know the backstory, but he was like sold into the government, so that's all he knows. Like his life to be is working for the government and being a hero and trying to save people, and that unfortunately causes his downfall. And it kind of made it more sad because at the beginning of the episode when Rex dies, Ray and him have like a very funny conversation about it. And he's like, give me some, mama, before you
Yeah, give me
leave.
some sugar, mama.
Yeah, something like that. And then, obviously, that's the last time they see each other, unfortunately, until Rex blows himself up. And what I honestly don't like about Rex's funeral is Rudy changing his name to Rex.
Yeah, oh hell no. Rudy, you'll never be Rex.
Nah, for real, I don't like Rudy. He's a weird guy.
Yeah, he should be the one dead.
Oh, wow. Devin does not like Rudy. But
Don't like is an understatement. I hate him.
Oh, okay. But obviously, Adam Eve is also very emotional because, as she explains it, like Rex was her first love.
Yeah.
And she did love him even though he cheated on her many times. And she just realized that Rex changed, but she didn't really realize that as he was alive.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, can you talk, buddy?
Which also, the one of the second worst probably part of that funeral was towards the end after Adam Eve like stormed off trying to speak, because Rudy does this whole thing where he's like, because he has his robot talk also.
Yeah.
Instead of him.
I kind of get that because Rudy does seem a little bit emotional.
Yeah.
Rex.
And then, so then it's like he goes, also I'll be taking Rex's name now in honor of him. And then he goes, I believe Adam Eve has something to say. Adam starts talking and then kind of runs off crying. And then it's like her and Mark, and then Mark's just cheesing the whole time. Like he's just like, I'm just happy you're alive. And then they have their little moment after that.
Yeah, that was just like showing how much Mark loves Adam Eve, and he's basically just gonna be there for her.
But
they're kind of soulmates,
Well, they were like, Rex and him were best friends.
Okay, yeah, he didn't show too much emotion. So
Because especially when it gets told that Rex is dead, he's just like, he's like, where's Rex?
He does have to deal with a lot. He did just deal with like 18 versions of himself plus fighting Conquest. So I guess he didn't really have time to deal with that. But I hope season 4 kind of dives into more
realization.
Yeah, more sad about Rex's death and everything. because the comics really also just skip past it. But the comics move so fast, I feel like you could dive more into that in the show.
Yeah.
But that's probably the most important things. Of course, until the end, you see that the Sequids are coming back.
We actually see a decent bit, yeah.
And then you see Battle Beast get saved, which he gets saved because he's going to be a character in the Viltrumite War. So, had to show that coming. And there's one more, was there not?
Yeah, I forgot his name. The devil dude. I told Detective Dark Blood or
a
something.
completely new storyline, like plot.
Is it Dark Blood?
Yeah, it's Dark Blood.
He's back. He hasn't been back. He's been gone since I believe around like episode 4 or 5 of season 1.
Season 1, yeah.
When he got sent back to hell because he was investigating Omni-Man and the whole murder of the Guardians of the Globe. And then, so it's Angstrom, Sequids, Battle Beast, and then Detective Darkblood.
Yeah, because the
And I
people
believe
who
that's
helped
it.
save Angstrom the first time is like demanding Angstrom help them with something now.
Yeah.
So that's also going to be something.
And then Sequids, I feel like it's...
That's it. No,
It is it?
That is
Okay,
it.
I knew it was loaded.
I was just mixing Angstrom. Because we don't even see Omni-Man and Alan again after their escape.
Yeah, we honestly don't, yeah, for 4 episodes we don't see him.
Yeah, we don't see them for a minute. But, I don't know, anything you didn't really just enjoy about this season other than, obviously, Rex dying because you're in denial about that?
I don't really think there's much I didn't like about this season, to be honest. Maybe, like, some of the times, like, I was upset that he was holding back, you know? Like, the whole dragon scene with Titan and stuff like that, the only reason Mark gets out of that, like, Mark easily could have, like, I don't actually know how hard it is to kill Mark, obviously, but he could have been severely hurt by this dragon that he could easily solo.
I feel like he just holds back at the wrong moments.
Yeah. And, I mean, I guess it's... I'm just so glad, like... I mean, this is the first time we've seen, like, Mark really just solo.
And we never really seen Multi-Paul after he escaped either, so he's just out there in the world.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of random things that I can't think about, but
Invincible has always been like that. Just has a lot.
Yeah, and we could not see Multi-Paul for
all of them.
Another like 2 seasons. Like we didn't see Doc Seismic we saw him season 2 or episode of season 1, and then he's not back until season 3, episode 1. So there's a lot of people who we could see for like it'll be a while until we see him again.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's just because they have like so much story to tell.
Yeah, there's a lot to get into.
Yeah. So let's just, I don't know. Alright, so now we talked through all the episodes and just threw out what happened this season. So I don't really know how to rank it normally, so I'm just kind of going to rank it out of the 3 seasons that we have so far. And writing-wise, I think it's second best. I still think the first season tops it a little bit more. I think there's just a little bit more action to it and everything, except obviously the last 2 episodes, which is action-packed. And then animation-wise, it's definitely probably the worst animated season so far. But I'm not an animated watcher, so I can't really complain too much about that because I don't really see a big problem about it. It's still very enjoyable to watch. The story's amazing. So as long as the story stays good, it will still be watchable. Unless if it like turns to stick figures, but I doubt that. Your thoughts, man?
So I think season 2 was really iffy for me. So I think this is definitely I don't know. I still think this might be my favorite season, but that might just be me. I think I think 1 and 3 are like up there, and then like 2 is just kind of like the one that's like to the side, really.
It had some like cool parts, but I feel like compared to these seasons.
Yeah, and then probably around like I'm trying to think. Oh, I didn't mean to mess with that, but animation wise, definitely season 1 was obviously probably the most in depth. But that was also whenever
Yeah.
they were giving them time to 2 years an episode
They had the
or
most
series.
time for season 1.
Yeah, and then 2 years for episode, or I keep saying no, it's not. It's
Season
doing the
2,
opposite
yeah.
of where I was like
Or season
season 2, and then
but-
everybody was so upset that they took so long for season 2. They wanted season 3 like ASAP. That
So they were kind of rushed, and they don't have the biggest team either. So
yeah, and then it's like their budget isn't, for some reason their budget isn't that big.
yeah,
Which I feel like they should.
because Amazon should spend more money on Invincible than they do, but it's just the way the world is and business is.
Yeah, and I think other shows that aren't that good deserve it, but I guess. But there's also plenty of people who probably like Invincible sucks, like who aren't into Invincible, and did other shows where we're not into. But okay.
Not a lot of people are like that though. It's pretty well liked,
But-
just to say, but
Yeah. So but I guess how corporates are these days. They're like, let's just make a bunch of money off of Invincible and spend the least amount on possible. But it's definitely my favorite season. And then also, if you're complaining about animation, you're probably the same people who are complaining about how long it's taking for episodes or seasons to come out. So pick your fight.
I also kind of want to add my favorite episode as well.
Okay.
I guess, I don't know. Obviously, it's either the conquest fight, or I also really did like episode 5, which was like the Adam Eve episode with Mark, and they fought the dragon and Titan and everything. But obviously, if I can't say the last finale, which should be the best, episode 5 is very close to it. But what are your thoughts?
I think there's definitely different aspects. I think for me, it might have been, if I can't say Conquest either, I would definitely say I think the Nolan and Allen season episode 4 was pretty good.
4.
Just because I'm also pretty big Allen fan as well.
It makes sense.
I just think I do like the Mark and Eve episode. Is just more of like, I guess the thing to me is like I just hate seeing Mark hold back, I guess, and it's like I know it's kind of how it is his character, but at the same time I'm like, dude, you could easily solo this guy. But also kind of like I kind of like Alan's character where he's faking getting pretty much kicked around and everything.
He became friends with Omni-Man.
Yeah, he becomes friends with Omni-Man, and then he kind of fakes getting beat up by the other Viltrumites in order for Omni-Man to break out of his, I don't even know, not really
whatever he was.
Yeah, whatever was holding him back.
Yeah.
So he breaks out of that, and then they start fighting him or whatever, and then obviously Battle Beast is back, and then
because Alan lets out all the inmates and is looking for the strongest ones.
Yeah, because then all the guards pretty much wiped out all of the other inmates, and then Battle Beast comes in and just starts wiping everybody out. He's like, you said there were gonna be Viltrumites. He's like, I know. We're gonna find them first. So yeah, definitely episode 4. If I can't say episode 8 was probably my favorite episode of the season, for me.
Very good show though, so I do recommend for you guys to watch it if you haven't. I don't know why you'd be watching this if you haven't, but I always say that, but it's true. But I do recommend it to people.
I recommend it as well, but I also know. Shout out to Pop Frank. He's definitely watched this and hasn't watched Invincible, so I'm not gonna throw any shade for watching this episode.
Okay. But I hope you watched or not watched. Hope you liked this episode. Talk about Invincible. Next week we're gonna be talking about kind of a different movie.
Yeah.
Just Locked, kind of like a thriller psychological movie.
Oh yes, I do remember this one now.
Huh?
I do remember Locked.
About the car, and it has Bill Skarsgård and Anthony Hopkins in. Hannibal, or Pennywise or Nosferatu. The movie Walked Out.
Yeah.
That's like the.
I'll never live it down.
I will never live it down, or let you live that down. Imagine walking out of a movie with watching 10 minutes of the movie.
Yep. Also, I'm gonna keep the trend alive, and I'm gonna commit to our thing. Invincible season 3 gets a 94.67% on the real score.
Well, there you go, man.
I had to put my real score out there. 94.67%.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next video.